Nathan has been playing around the last couple of weeks. He's not doing his best work and his behavior is not what it should be. I expect to see improvement. Nathan has had trouble getting along with his classmates lately. I'm very disappointed in his behavior, and Nathan needs to spend more time working and less time playing around. Ladies and gentlemen, as you can see from my report card in 1988, you're in really good hands right now, okay? By show of hands, how many of you actually attended a public school or a private school growing up? All right, just want to make sure. Also, by show of hands, do I have any educators or future educators in the audience tonight? All right, thank you very much. Do I have any parents or caregivers of school-aged children in the audience tonight? Awesome. And just by chance, do I have anyone who had a report card that looked like mine? Okay, my people, I see you, we're good. Here's a picture of my family. As you can see, from my report cards, they had their hands full. My father, he's holding me, and my beautiful mother, she's holding but kind of choking my little brother a little bit. It's a great picture. So my parents, just like all of our nation's parents, wanted nothing more than for their kids to have an outstanding education. But the problem was, like many of our nation's parents, my parents didn't have the time, didn't have the resources, didn't have the voice, and didn't really feel like they had a place in our school growing up. For over 25 years, I've been exceedingly blessed to be an educator. I've been a classroom teacher, I've been an assistant principal, a principal, an associate superintendent, and most recently I serve as an educational leadership consultant in both public schools and private schools across the nation. But my most important job, and probably the hardest job, is that of a father. These are my great kids, Evan and Lily. So I want to share with our TEDx audience tonight this radical belief that our nation's schools can actually increase student achievement by increasing our relationships with our parents and families. You see, I believe that we can actually close the student achievement gap by closing the distance between our schoolhouses and the homes and community of our kids. In 2010, I became a principal in Minnieville Elementary School in Northern Virginia, right outside Washington, D.C. Our school served about 700 students, and of those 700 students, 80% were considered economically disadvantaged. And of those 700 students, approximately 80% were recent immigrants. They were second language learners from West Africa, the Middle East, and Central America. Now, our school actually had an abundance of resources. We were a very well-funded school. Our teachers were outstanding. We had research-based programs, initiatives, software programs, books. You had it. We had this, right? But even with all those resources and good teaching, unfortunately for us, our results were declining significantly year after year. Declining so much we were on the verge of being taken over by the state. You see, for us, it wasn't that we had a problem with focusing what was happening inside our classrooms. Maybe for us, we weren't really thinking about the impact our school was having outside of our classrooms. So our school team got together. We tried to do as much research as we could to figure out how to change our trajectory as a school. And we stumbled upon some pretty interesting research. The research that we found showed that 95% of students with actively involved parents and caregivers have better mental and physical well-being, which provides them with a solid foundation to excel academically. Our school had never heard of this before. You see, for us, it wasn't so much that we knew why this was important. For us, our school didn't know how to do it. And if we could just kind of change our trajectory a little bit of focusing not only on our pedagogy, but also on our people, maybe we would have a different story to tell. So tonight, I'm going to share with you my odyssey as an educator and as a school leader. And I had 4 encounters with parents as our school was on this journey that significantly changed my life, my profession, and also the lives of our school. 4 encounters taught me 4 lessons that we had never thought of before. The first one was the importance of parent and family attendance in our schoolhouse. The second one was the importance of focusing on parent and family understanding of our academics. The third was a focus on increasing the positive attitudes that we had as a school. And the fourth was our levels of advocacy for our community. You see, I learned as a school leader that our parents and families will not open their hearts to our school until we open our doors to our parents and families. You see, for a lot of educators, there's this understanding that teachers and staff take care of the kids at the school, and parents and families take care of the students at home, and that the two kind of like keep their separate ways. But there's a problem with that mindset. That traditional mindset actually leads to mistrust and a lack of transparency, which equates to a lot of the problems we have today right now in our schools. I remember meeting this father named Mr. Blake. Mr. Blake had recently enrolled in our school, and he enrolled his daughter in our school, and he knew our school was failing. He set up a meeting with me, and he said, Mr. Provincio, I'm Mr. Blake, I just want you to know I moved into this community, and as a parent, you can count on me. Anything that you need for your school, I got you. I can help you with this. This was the first time a parent actually came to us and wanted to help in our school like this. Mr. Blake was outstanding. Called him the next day, we got him in. He helped in our classrooms, he helped in our lunchrooms, he helped in recess, arrival, and dismissal. Mr. Blake was outstanding. His presence actually empowered other dads and other parents to be members in our school, just by him being there. Over the time, Mr. Blake not only became an outstanding parent volunteer for our school, he actually became a school leader in our building. And just recently, just this last year, he actually became a school board member, and now he actually helps build family engagement in our entire school community. Outstanding fellow. He taught us that we as a school needed to do a better job with targeting and inviting our parents to come into our school buildings, teaching them about the nuances and the runnings of our school, and acknowledge, celebrate, and thank every single volunteer for spending a little bit of time in our school. The second area was the area of academics. You see, we had this mindset that parents' job was just help their kids at home and maybe every now and then go to a parent-teacher conference. But that was not a good mindset. I remember receiving this phone call from this parent who was absolutely distraught. She called me totally in tears and she said, Mr. Provencio, I need help. I was like, how can I help you? She said, I just received this horrible letter saying that your school is retaining, failing, holding my son back from his grade. She said that she knew that he was struggling, but she didn't quite know exactly what he was struggling with. She said that she could actually help him do better with his academics if she knew when our teachers were teaching those academics. And she said that she would absolutely have helped him a little bit more if someone just reached out to her and trained her and helped her support her son at home. That one conversation totally moved me as an educator. We brought our team together and said, listen, if one parent is feeling this way, it's very possible that all of our parents could be feeling this way. So we started immediately sharing out our essential academic standards that students absolutely had to learn. And we shared those out transparently. We communicated those to our parents and families in multiple languages. We made sure that we gave all of our parents and families a year at a glance and let our parents and families know exactly when we were teaching these academic standards. And we did everything we could to set up support sessions to help teach our parents how to help their children at home. And when we started doing that, not only did her son continue to improve, but our academic performance continued to improve as well. The third area that we learned from was the importance of attitudes. You see, it's not just schools being a teaching or a learning institution, we learned that our schools are actually a customer service institution. But we never really realized that until this one encounter that I had with a parent. I was shopping for school supplies at a Target and for my two kids. And so I'm pouring all these school supplies and going through the list of school supplies and putting these school supplies in my buggy, and I go up to line and I'm complaining, man, this costs so much, what's going on? You know, I'm just kind of complaining about how much this costs and all the school supplies. And this lady is right behind me with a shopping cart full of school supplies too. And she's like, yeah, right on. This is horrible what these schools are doing to our kids, having to buy all these school supplies. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. And I looked at her and I said, what school did your kids go to? And she looked at me and said, Minnieville. Now, if you remember, Minnieville is a school where I was the principal. And I was like, word, no, what's going on? And she said, yeah, that principal, I don't know anything about it. He never called me. No, right? I was embarrassed. I was humbled. And my kids looked at me and like, Dad, what are we going to do over here? So after we had that awkward moment, I said, man, listen, come to the school tomorrow, next Monday. I'm going to have you meet with my leadership team, and we're going to listen to your story. And from that point on, when we listened to her story, she told us that she doesn't feel like she has a voice, she doesn't feel like she knows anything good about the school, and she doesn't feel welcomed. When my team heard her story, from that point on, we stopped having our parents buy school supplies for their kids. I know it sounds so simple, but why would we do this every year? Because traditionally, all of our schools had always done that. So we stopped buying school supplies for our kids. We totally started doubling down on learning lessons from like Disney and like Ritz-Carlton and Nordstrom and even Chick-fil-A to figure out what best-in-class companies are doing to get more information so that we can be a best-in-class customer-centric organization as well. And we learned three things. Perspective. We needed to stop seeing things through our lens and start seeing things through the lens of our students, our parents, and our families. We also needed to do a better job of probing for information, getting that qualitative and quantitative data so we can be a better service industry for our parents and families. We had never thought about that before. And then we needed to do a better job of promoting the excellence in our school. Most of our staff and our parents and families had no idea what our vision or mission was. So we needed to double down on social media and word of mouth advertising and promote the excellence that we felt like our school actually had. And the final area was advocacy. If we want our parents and families to advocate for us, we need to advocate for our parents and families. 43% of our nation's schools have a high percentage of low-income families. But for our school, like I said earlier, it was 80%. We knew that if we wanted to move our culture, we needed to move out of our schoolhouse and into the communities where our students lived. Our teachers started canvassing the neighborhoods, meeting parents at the bus stops, going door to door, and we met this one remarkable mother named Maria. Maria was kind of like the neighborhood mother, right, in this one very challenging community. Maria told us that her community was actually in fear. She said that there had been a rash of break-ins and burglaries and theft in the community, and because it was a community of immigrants, they were afraid to call the police. Matter of fact, they said they were just as afraid to call the police as they were afraid of the criminals in the neighborhood. She said that when we sent our kids to school, they were also scared. We had no idea about this story. So once again, we invited Maria to our school. We contacted the chief of police. We contacted churches and non-for-profit organizations, anyone that we could find to support this community. We even started to invite the police department into our school so our kids would understand that the police are not bad and that the police would understand they are here to protect and serve our children and our communities regardless of their legal status. And that relationship really helped empower this community, and almost overnight the crime and the theft stopped, and Maria's voice became a voice not only for her family, not only for her neighborhood, but for the entire community. Maria taught us to listen better, listen and learn from our parents and families, locate resources that our school has, and then also leverage these voices in the community to empower everybody. When we double down on involving, engaging, and empowering our parents, our data showed that it was quite remarkable. Each year we did this, our academic results soared. Student achievement rose, student on-grade level reading rates rose, student discipline issues went down, student attendance went up. You can see from those blue lines, man, it was like Drake. We started at the bottom, now quite remarkable. Our school became a lighthouse of hope, not only for our community, but for the nation. As I end tonight, my journey as a son, as a student, as an educator, and as a father has taught me that every parent and every family member we serve has a very important story to tell, has a voice to share, if our schools, public or private, will take the time to listen. For the future educators that are in here tonight, and for the parents and families that are here, let's do everything we can to build a community connection so that we can ensure educational excellence for every student and every community. Thank you.